Welcome back to Guitar Theory Modules. This is Module 71 and we're on pages 170 through 172. In this lesson we're going to learn about altered dominant chords, specifically 7 sharp 5 and 7 flat 5 chords. In the first part of this lesson I'll show you how to read and recognize 7 sharp 5 and flat 5 chords. In the last part of this module I'm going to show you how to play those chords on the guitar. Every once in a while you'll see an alt chord in your music, especially if you play jazz and blues. And all an alt chord is a dominant 7th chord that you are allowed to alter in some way. And the most common way to alter a dominant 7th chord is to raise or lower the 5th. So we have 7 sharp 5s and 7 flat 5s. Here's a C7 chord, or a dominant 7 chord. C, E, G, and B flat. If you want to change that C7 into a C7 flat 5, all you have to do is lower the 5th of the chord. So the 5th of the chord is G, you lower that to a G flat, and now we have C, E, G flat, and B flat, or C7 flat 5. Now if you wanted to take that C7 chord and make it into a C7 sharp 5, you take the 5th of that chord, that G, and you raise it a half step. You change it to a G sharp. So now we have C, E, G sharp, and B flat, or C7 sharp 5. So there are 2 steps for constructing a 7 flat 5 or 7 sharp 5 chord. First, write a dominant 7th chord, and then either raise or lower the 5th of that chord depending on what chord you're after. For example, if you want to write an F7 flat 5 chord, first thing you're going to do is write an F7 chord, or F dominant 7. That's going to be F, A, C, E flat. To change it to an F7 flat 5, we lower the 5th of the chord. The 5th of the chord is C, lower it to a C flat, and now we have F, A, C flat, E flat, or F7 flat 5. And if we want to write a D7 sharp 5 chord, first thing you're going to do is write a D7 chord, or D dominant 7. D, F sharp, A, and C. Then we take the 5th of the chord, which is an A, raise it by a half step, becomes an A sharp, and now we have D, F sharp, A sharp, and C, or D7 sharp 5. At the bottom of page 171, we have this exercise in constructing 7 flat 5 and 7 sharp 5 chords. Your job is to use those steps we just talked about to write these chords. Remember to keep the note names the same when you're raising or lowering the 5th of the chord. So if you're raising the 5th of the chord and that 5th is a flat note, you change it to a natural note. If it's a natural note, you change it to a sharp note, and if it's already a sharp note, you change it to a double sharp. And then if you're lowering the 5th and the note is originally a sharp note, you change it to a natural note. If that 5th is a natural note, you change it to a flat, and if it's already a flat note, you change it to a double flat. If you have a copy of Guitar Theory Modules, you can write your answers right there in the book and check your work on page 228. Your chords may appear in a different octave than mine, and that's okay. If you don't have a copy of Guitar Theory Modules, you're going to need some manuscript paper to write on. I've got some free manuscript paper you can download from my website. The link is in the description. I'm going to go over the answers now, so pause the video, write your answers, start the video, and check your work. Number 1, G7 sharp 5. First write a G7 chord. That's going to be G, B, D, and F. Then raise the 5th of the chord. The 5th is D. Change that to a D sharp. And now we have G, B, D sharp, F, or G7 sharp 5. Number 2, B flat 7 sharp 5. First write a B flat 7 chord. That's going to be B flat, D, F, and A flat. Then we raise the 5th of the chord. The 5th of the chord is F. Change it to F sharp. Now we have B flat, D, F sharp, A flat, or B flat 7, sharp 5. Number 3, A7 flat 5. First write an A7 chord, that's going to be A, C sharp, E, and G. Then we lower the fifth of the chord. The fifth is E, lower it to E flat. Now we have A, C sharp, E flat, and G, or A7 flat 5. Number 4, E flat 7 flat 5. First write an E flat 7 chord, that's going to be E flat, G, B flat, D flat. Lower the fifth of the chord. The fifth of the chord is B flat, so that B flat becomes B double flat. And now we have E flat, G, B double flat, and D flat, or E flat 7 flat 5. Number 5, E7 flat 5. First write an E7 chord, that's going to be E, G sharp, B, and D. Lower the fifth of the chord. The fifth is B, lower it to B flat. Now we have E, G sharp, B flat, and D, or E7 flat 5. And number 6, B7 sharp 5. First write a B7 chord, that's going to be B, D sharp, F sharp, A. Raise the fifth of the chord. The fifth is F sharp, so that becomes F double sharp. And now we have B, D sharp, F double sharp, and A, or B7 sharp 5. Being able to write out 7 sharp 5 and 7 flat 5 chords is all well and good, but you want to be able to play these chords as well. Here's a 7 flat 5 shape you can play with the root on the 6th string. Finger 2 is playing the root. Finger 3 is playing the 7th of the chord. Finger 4 is playing the 3rd of the chord. And finger 1 is playing the 5th, or in this case, the flat 5th of the chord. And muting 1st string and 5th string. Now this is a movable chord shape because there are no open strings. This happens to be a B flat 7 flat 5 that I'm playing because I'm placing the root of the shape on the B flat, string 6, fret 6. Now if I were to move it down a fret, so now my root is on the A, on the 5th fret, now it's an A7 flat 5. And move it down another fret, it's an A flat 7 flat 5. And here's a 7 sharp 5 shape you can play with the root on the 6th string. First finger is playing the root. Finger 2 is playing the 7th of the chord. Finger 3 is playing the 3rd of the chord. And finger 4 is playing the 5th of the chord, or the sharp 5th in this case. We're muting the 1st string and muting the 5th string. This also is movable. It happens to be a B flat 7 sharp 5 that I'm playing because I'm placing that root note on that same B flat on string 6, fret 6. If I were to move it up a fret, now my root is on the B on the 7th fret, and now it's a B7 sharp 5. Move it up one more fret, it's a C7 sharp 5. The best way to practice 7 flat 5 and 7 sharp 5 chords, of course, is to play them as often as you can. Of course, play one of those chords when you see it in your music, but also try substituting them for other chords. If you see a dominant 7th chord, try playing a 7 flat 5 or 7 sharp 5 instead. Sometimes you like the way it sounds, sometimes you won't, but you won't know until you try. Don't forget to check out my book, Guitar Theory Modules. You can watch all these videos for free, but if you have your own copy of Guitar Theory Modules, you'll have all this information in one place. It's going to be a lot easier to follow along. So I'll leave a link for the book in the description. Take your time with this, and then when you're ready, I'll see you in Module 72, where I'm going to show you how to read, recognize, and play 7 sus chords.